Hi, for this video what I want to do is do an application using the Pythagorean theorem to find the area of land that is shown below. In this case, the area of our land is a right triangle. And with the right triangle, you can classify this as the base or the height. I'm going to call this the base, and I'm going to call this the height. And remember that in order to find the area, we would have to do 1/2 times the base times the height of the triangle. So we are missing the height, but we know the hypotenuse. And since this is a right triangle, we know that the Pythagorean theorem a squared plus b squared equals c squared does apply. Okay, so with this, I'm just going to substitute in h for a and 250 for b. It doesn't matter what order I put these two in. If I would have done 250 squared plus h squared, that would also work. Okay, the c squared is the only one, the one across from the right angle is the only one that matters. That does have to go on the side by itself. So then we would simplify this down. So 250 squared does end up giving us 62,500. 1,400 squared gives us 1,960,000. And I did use a calculator to help with those calculations. So if you need to use a calculator, there's no harm in that. And then from there, we would subtract the 62,500 from both sides. And we end up with h squared equals 1,897,500. When you're working with large numbers, you do want to make sure that you write them down correctly and that you check everything. So then when I take the square root of this, this would be considered the exact answer. Sometimes in your calculations, the final answer is going to be very different depending upon what your approximation is going to be. With this one, when I plug this into my calculator, I get approximately 1,377.4977, which is very close to 1,377.5. So I'm going to go ahead and keep one decimal place for this one. Just know that when you do calculations after rounding, your answers are going to be less precise. So if you get to the final answer with how many acres we have, you may end up getting something that's considered incorrect in an online homework platform, but it's a completely okay answer. It's just that I know that if you're using homework platforms, they are very picky about the decimal places. And so if you end up getting it wrong, you may want to go back and just plug the square root value directly into the problem for h. So instead of using the rounded version, I did the calculations on this one with both the exact value and the rounded value, and my final answer was the same to 2 decimal places. So I'm not going to show that to you, but I do want to advise that that's something you want to watch for, that using rounded answers can throw off your final calculations. So like I said, I'm just going to use this rounded value, the 1,377.5 feet, to find the area. So my area is going to be 1/2 times my base, which is 250 feet, times my height, which is 1,377.5 feet. And I did keep it to the 0.5 rather than rounding to a whole number since it's directly in the middle. When it's directly in the middle, it really is better just to go to at least 1 decimal place. Like I said, the more decimal places you use, the more precise your answer is going to be. Okay, so if I do these calculations, I end up with 172,187.5. Sorry, I missed a 1 in there. So 172,187.5, and remember that this is in square feet. Well, remember they told us that they want us to find the area in acres. So what we now need to do is convert our square feet into acres. So we're going to take that we have 172,187.5 square feet. And we want our square feet to cancel out. So we're going to put the square feet on the bottom and our acres on the top. And so we would end up with 43,560 square feet. And from there, we would just simplify our answer. So we're really doing this value divided by 43,560, and we end up with approximately 3.95 acres. So this plot of land is almost 4 acres, just under 4 acres. But first, we had to find the missing height using the Pythagorean theorem, and then we were able to find the area, and from there, we were able to convert from square feet into acres. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics you would like me to cover, please let me know that as well.